I do, we'll start doing Happy New Year. I trust that the month has been wonderful. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Happy New Year. Thank you
Yes.
very
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to be discussing briefly about COVID-19, which is coronavirus. It's going to be a bit brief, but it's going to be salient. So very important things that we'll be touchlighting on tonight as we discuss. Okay, so it's not a news that there's a pandemic ravaging the whole world, and then for some people their response is fear, anxiety, different kind of response out there. The thing is real. Many people are faced with that reality. Many people contracting it, possibly even having somebody or a loved one who has contracted it before, or you are concerned about what to do to ensure that you prevent it. So that's what this conversation will be all about. What should be our response? What should we be doing at this moment? Um,
Hello, Coach, are you still there?
and I'll start by saying, I remember when this it started, and that was even at the time where it was really, really novel. Like people don't even know so many things about it. So, but I've never been afraid of it one bit. Okay, and some people in the faith clan would be like, "Oh, okay, man of God, man of faith, yeah, a man of faith." I say, "Yes, yes, I'm a man of faith." But even beyond that, okay, I'm not afraid of it one bit. And the reason I'm not afraid of it one bit is because I have information, I have knowledge. Okay, somebody said that knowledge would give you an edge. The reason they call it knowledge is because it will give you an edge. Okay, so even if there's anybody on this call that is afraid of COVID-19, okay, so what we would be doing together is to ensure that by the end of this session, you will also be able to boldly say that I'm not afraid of COVID-19 one bit. Awesome. Okay, so COVID-19 is actually novel. Novel means that it is new. Okay, so many things about it we're still trying to understand. Okay, we're still trying to research into and things like that. Anyway, in quotes, it is not that new. It belongs to, so it's a virus, right? And then the virus belongs to a family of SARS-CoV. Okay, so it's a family. Okay, so before this one is actually SARS-CoV-2. Okay, so before SARS-CoV-2, there was actually a SARS-CoV-1. Okay, so SARS is SARS. Okay, meaning severe acute respiratory syndrome. Okay, so there was SARS-CoV-1. Okay, and then this is SARS-CoV-2. So it's a family. There are quite a number of uh, members in that family. And one of the things that stood out for that family is the fact that they are usually an RNA virus, not a DNA virus. Okay, so every living thing has a coding. I get excited talking about this these days because there are so many things I can use to illustrate it and that people will get. So the same way that you have a phone and then there is a coding, okay, that the software engineer has done to the extent that when you click on this button, the phone should behave in this way. Okay, when you click on send message, the phone should send message because it has been programmed to behave that way. Okay, so but when you click on send message and then the phone is now calling somebody, you know that the phone is not okay, something is wrong with the phone. So the same way, all of the cells of our body are programmed, all living things are programmed, and then where that programming occur is usually what we call DNA. Okay, so for some cells it's DNA, and then for some cells, viruses, whatever, is RNA. Okay, and it's been shown that RNA viruses, okay, viruses that are RNA are actually fast replicating, okay, or I should say fast mutating. Yeah, that's the exact word. They are fast mutating, meaning they can easily change form to become something new. Okay, so the programming that they have is called RNA. It's different from a DNA programming. Okay, and one of the unique things about RNA programming is the fact that it can easily change form. Okay, it can easily move from a particular form to another form. Okay, and that's a major characteristic of RNA virus. And the reason why that is very important for us to note is the fact that because of the RNA virus, they have a tendency of mutating easily, okay, to take a different shade and a different form. And that's why you could hear about new strands, okay, of the virus, because they have mutated, they have changed form, okay, to the extent that if what you have been using before to address them has been working, because they easily change form, okay, it cannot get to that point where what you were using to address them in the first place would not be effective again because they've changed form, okay, to something else. So that's one of the characteristics of every uh, SARS-CoV. Okay, so every of those viruses, that's one of the characteristics. And then, of course, so many symptoms that we are familiar with. A major, what I seek to do is to ask some questions that will look rhetorical, maybe some questions that may be on our mind, okay, because we're talking about the fats and the meats, okay, the fats and the meats. So I'll ask questions, possibly even focus to know whether it's a fat or a meat. Okay, then I'll explain further and then buttress my point. Okay, so that's the virus. Okay, of course, different school of thoughts as to where it started from, the essence of for which it started, and things like that. You know, and that could be a point of discussion. But we're not going to be dwelling on that. We're just going to be talking about basically how it started, and especially so because our bodies are made up of cells. Are we still together? I'm seeing a notification of internet unstable. Are we still together, please?
Yes, we lost you a bit, but we can hear you now.
Oh, okay. So
Are you still there, coach? We can't hear you.
the system into that acidic mode, and then, like I said, the immune system would recognize that this thing is in the body, and then the immune system will try to want to attack it. Okay, and uh, attack external pathogens. So the base cytokine storm. Okay, so the body will start increasing in temperature. The reason the body temperature is increasing is also to try to kill the virus. Okay, so the body will start increasing in temperature, the cytokine storm. Okay, but as the virus progresses, especially in that lung area, it start making it difficult. It start making it difficult for easy inflow of air. Okay, because the hair is supposed to enter from that end, and then the hemoglobin is supposed to pick up the hair and then take it to different parts of the body. That's the oxygen where they are needed. Okay, but because of the invasion of the virus, especially in that lungs, it will be difficult for the air to penetrate, and that would then make it for the person that is infected to not be able to, maybe to be, in quotes, trying to gasp for hair, losing taste, or I mean sense of taste and sense of smell. Okay, I've spoken about fever. Okay, body temperature will start going up, and things like that. And then eventually, what would then happen is they will start forming little platelets or little clotting in the body, in all of the blood vessels. Okay, and that will start making it difficult for blood to flow freely to different organs, and then that will then start making, because all of the organs of our body, they survive on blood. Okay, so the blood transfers the nutrients that they need to survive. Okay, but because of the little clottings everywhere, okay, that is being formed, occasioned by the virus in the system, oh, what would then be happening is that since those clots are there, right, it would hinder free flow of blood, and then it will start leading to a situation where uh, different organs, the kidney, the liver, they are starving for blood, and then that can then begin to lead to those wasting away in quotes of those organs. If they are not feeding, they are not living very well, they begin to misbehave. Okay, so that's basically the life cycle, how the thing occur. And it's been shown that many people that have concern with hypertension, concern with diabetes, concern with cancer, concern with any condition that would affect the lung, okay, and then the elderly, they are the most vulnerable. Okay, when they are infected, the effect can actually be more than people that don't have any of those conditions. So that's why it's very, very important that if you have any concern that is related to all of those I've mentioned, you have to be very, very careful. Very, very careful. So that's actually how it operates. Okay, so the question is, so there are so many questions I'm thinking of asking now. Let me just see which one to start with. So let me start with this one. So nose marks, uh, do they work? Uh, is it fat or a meat? Nose marks and hand gloves, do they work? Fat or meat? Do they work in preventing it? Okay, because you've heard people talk about you need to wear your nose marks everywhere you're going to. Uh, if you want to touch any surface, please wear a glove. Okay, so based on my uh, understanding, observation, and things like that, I've come to realize that to an extent, nose marks do work. Okay, of course, to prevent, especially for somebody that is infected already, to prevent the person from infecting others. Okay, then another understanding is even if the person is not infected, right? Uh, because that part of the body is covered, you are able to ensure that droplets, okay, vapor from other people's maybe sneezing or something like that, or droplet from their saliva does not get touch all of those parts that will now start, invading the body. So nose mask is effective. However, when you wear it for a long time, okay, it may also have negative effects because you are not able to breathe very well, and then you're not able to take copious amount of air, that you need. Okay, as a matter of fact, our brain survives only on two things, just two things: glucose and oxygen. Okay, glucose and oxygen. And a primary reason why people faint is when they are deficient in any of these two. So that's why if somebody is in a bus or is in a confined environment where there's practically no air in the place, the person can faint because there's no glucose and then there's no oxygen. So nose masks do work, okay, but if you have the type that would allow you to be able to still breathe effectively, fantastic, okay. And then even if you don't have that type, uh, it's not advisable to wear it for a very long time, okay. So that's why, as much as possible, interaction, physical interaction can be limited, so that when you're in your house, you don't have to wear it, okay. Then as regards hand glove, hand glove may not be that effective, okay, because the fact that you are touching surfaces with your hand does not mean that you are not, if there's any virus, that you're not unpicking those virus. You're actually contracting them. Okay, so the fact that it's not a repellent. It doesn't repel the virus. Okay, so you could as well use your ordinary hand to touch the surface, and then it's the same thing as using the glove to touch the surfaces. Somebody may be saying, yeah, but when you wear a glove, you remove it. Okay, yeah, I know you will remove it, but that process of removing it is not always that effective in ensuring that the virus has not penetrated the surface of your hand. That's number one. Then number two is some of them, especially if they are not latex, they have holes, and then the virus can actually go through them and then get on the surface of your hand. So the point is, you can wear hand glove, okay, but the fact that you're wearing it does not mean that you should be lackadaisical about washing your hands. That's the most important one. Okay, so as a matter of fact, if I have to pick between the two, using hand glove or washing my hands, of course, washing my hands is more important. So it's very, very important. That old hygiene that we're taught that, wash your hand regularly and things like that is always very important that we do that. Okay, so those are measures that we need to do to ensure that we're able to prevent it. Okay, and so another question: what's the place of chloroquine? I know this is a very interesting one. What's the place of chloroquine? There was a lot of debate about it last year. What's the place of chloroquine in preventing? Okay, that's prophylactic, or in reversing COVID-19. Okay, so it's beginning to get more interesting, but let me just talk about this foundation before I get to that conversation. We need to understand and realize that anytime you see a situation, okay, in every situation actually, every cases, whether in politics, uh, in economics, whatever is happening, whether in Nigeria, of course, today people are protesting and things like that. Anytime you see a situation like that, just know that beyond what you can see with your physical eyes, there are actually agendas going on that you may not be aware of. Okay, so what is happening? Okay, you need to understand that sometimes what is happening is different from what is going on. You can see what is happening, but you don't understand what is going on. Okay, so what is happening? They are protesting, but what is really, really going on? Okay, so uh, for every matter, for every issue, there are usually more than one dimension, and the one that is always very obvious to every one of us is the one that is really not very deep. So sometimes it's just very important that we look beyond the physical, okay, the one that is obvious for everybody to see, and then to make more research and then get our own understanding. I'm saying this because there's a war. Okay, this war have been in existence even before I was born. There's a war, it's long time coming. Okay, in the medical field, uh, there are actually many school of thoughts. There are many uh, paradigms. There are many medical systems in quotes. Okay, you can check them out. There's allopathy, which is the one you are familiar with. There's allopathy is also the same as orthodox. Okay, so there is naturopathy. They have their own approach. There's chiropractic. There's Chinese traditional medicine. So there's naturopathy. Okay, but you need to understand and realize that when medical science started, it actually started as naturopathy. Okay, so naturopathy means using natural things to address conditions. Okay, so they use herbs, they use vegetables. As a matter of fact, the father of modern medicine. Okay, so if you have a medical doctor, that's their allopathy medicine. At the end of their training, there's a particular oath that they take. They call it the Hippocratic oath. Okay, so part of what they will say is, "I'll not do any harm" and things like that. So that Hippocratic oath, the reason why there's a Hippocratic oath is actually the fact that Hippocrates is the father of modern medicine. Hippocrates is the father of modern medicine. And Hippocrates once made a very profound statement. Maybe some of you would have heard me said it before. He said, "Let your food be your medicine, okay, and let your medicine be your food." I mean, that's the father of modern medicine. That's the father of modern orthodox medicine. And he was saying, let your food be your medicine, and let your medicine be your food. The last time I checked, it didn't say let your medication be your medicine, okay, and let your food be your medication. It didn't say that. It said let your, you know, uh, so the reason I'm pinpointing the guy is actually the fact that when medical science started, orthodox, it was like that. But because some people were not making money from it, I'll just share an abridged version of this. Some people were not making money from it, right? Because the law states that if anything is natural, you can't. What's the word now? You can't have a copyright on it. It's a particular word I'm looking for. You can't copyright anything that is natural. So they use natural things, right? And apple is natural. As a matter of fact, chloroquine was a plant, okay, so that they used to address malaria in those days, okay, and nobody can, the word has escaped me, nobody can but put a copyright, that's a synonym to it. Nobody can put a copyright to chloroquine plant and say chloroquine plant is my own. Okay, so anybody that wants to use chloroquine plant will have to come and pay royalty to me. Nobody can do that. So some people thought about ways of making money from medical science more. So they started to make an equivalent of chloroquine, for instance, from their lab. So this is not chloroquine now, this is something else. So when they make that, okay, then because it is their brainchild, they made it in their lab. Okay, for the first 20 years. Yes, thank you, patents. Yes. Nobody can patent a natural thing. Thank you, Sister Dolly. Nobody can patent a natural thing. Okay, so they started making them from their lab, right? And when they make them from their lab like that, it's now their brainchild. As a matter of fact, when they produce a medication like that, for the first 20 years, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's about 20 years, they only have the sole right to sell that thing worldwide for the first 20 years. Okay? For the first 20 years, they have the sole right to sell that thing worldwide. Even after that 20 years, anybody that is not interested in producing that same thing that they produce in their lab would then have to be paying royalty to them. Okay, that's pretty much how medical science evolved. Okay, and it's been a tug of war since then, how pharmaceuticals, they control medical science. Okay, so they produce medications, and then they decide the direction that medical science should go. Okay, that was how they were able to trump all those other kinds of paradigms, okay, to medical science. Okay, so what they always, so the politicking, there's always a lot of politicking in all of these things. So there's somebody that is interested in making more money, there's somebody that is interested in smiling to the bank. Okay, so here is what I found, that chloroquine actually work. Okay, that's the truth. Research have been done about it to prove that it works. Okay, however, let me quickly put this caveat, please. That does not mean that you should go and obtain it OTC. You're not supposed to buy chloroquine over the counter. Your doctor is supposed to prescribe it for you. Okay, and what chloroquine actually does is uh, it has a way of hindering the replication of the COVID-19 virus. So they replicate fast, just like cancer said, they replicate very fast, and they can mutate too easily. So what chloroquine does is it has a way of uh, stopping stopping the replication of those cells. And this is very interesting because there's a concept in science that, especially when it comes to medications, okay, that shows that sometimes when a medication is meant for a particular condition, okay, somewhere along the line, people can actually then discover that that medication is also good for something else. Okay, so there's that concept in science. So although naturally chloroquine is meant for malaria and things like that, but there's that concept of when something is good for something, eventually we can discover that it is good for something else. Okay, so chloroquine works. As a matter of fact, if you are now combining it with something like zinc is a supplement. You can even get that OTC. Okay, so what zinc would then do is zinc will drive the chloroquine deeper into the cell, okay, to ensure that the chloroquine is able to prevent the replication of the virus. Okay, so chloroquine works, but of course, if you are going to be getting it, you have to do it uh, as prescribed by a doctor, because there are side effects too. There's chloroquine poisoning too, and things like that. You don't want to do all of those. And somebody be wondering that, so why are they? If this thing really works, how come people are not talking about it? How are people not shouting about it? Remember what I shared about some people are interested in the big money. Okay, so somebody is thinking that chloroquine, how much is chloroquine? Chloroquine is very cheap. It's not up to how much is chloroquine? I think it's about $2. How much is $2? Like my former boss would say, how many are we going to sell before we prosper in life? All of those small, so somebody is thinking about a product that by the time you sell like 10, yeah, that's already trying to break even, so something like that. So there are a lot of politicking, that goes into all of this thing. So what you see on the surface, okay, what is going on usually is different from what is really, really happening. Okay, so it works. So that's about chloroquine. Okay. So there's zinc. So let me just move for time's sake. Let me just move to talking about, are there things I can do, okay, in boosting my immune system to ensure that uh, I don't come down with COVID? Are there prophylactic procedures? Are there things I can do to ensure that my immune system is bolstered, my immune system is strengthened, okay, to ensure that I don't come down with coronavirus? Of course, there are many things that you can do. Some of them we are familiar with, except that we don't understand the gravity. I actually authored a book about it last year, at the peak of the pandemic. It's called Stronger Than Disease. So if you don't have it, you can actually uh, get on our website and then get it downloaded on your book. I think it's on Cover Books or something like that. So, but there are things that, the bottom line is, there are things that you can do to strengthen your immune system. One of them is to load your system with a lot of vitamin C. Okay, so vitamin C. So some people are aware of the effect and the importance of vitamin C for our immune system. Okay, so because this is an immune system thing, vitamin C has a way of strengthening and bolstering the immune system. It's been shown over and over and over and over again that it actually performed that role. As a matter of fact, it's also very beneficial for anything that has to do with our uh, what's the word now? With our NASA system, yes. That system where hair comes in. That's why one of the things, for instance, that I would recommend if somebody is having a concern with maybe cold, catarrh, is possibly to do warm water, lemon, and then honey. There's a way you mix it and then you take it. Very, very effective. So the lemon, because of the abundance of vitamin C in it, is able to address things like cold, things like catarrh, all of those things that affect the NASA system. Okay, so the same way, a lot of vitamin C can actually help to bolster the immune system to address anything that has to do with the NASA system, including COVID-19. Okay, so vitamin C would be helpful, very, very helpful. Zinc too will be helpful. Zinc is also very important for bolstering the immune system. Okay, so a lot of zinc would do. Okay, but the challenge with zinc is even with vitamin C, you need to be very careful. The fact that it's supplement does not mean that you should just continually take it. You have to know about dosage. Okay, you have to know about how long should I take it. Okay, and things like that. So garlic too. Okay, garlic, turmeric, cinnamon, all of those things, they have fantastic benefits. Okay, so cinnamon, for instance, has anti-inflammatory property, and the end point of the COVID-19 is inflammation. Okay, inflammation of different areas of the body. And cinnamon, for instance, has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties. Okay, so cinnamon would help, garlic would help, uh, ginger would help, all of those things, you know. would be very helpful to help to bolster your immune system. So, for instance, there are a lot of food produce that are abundant in zinc. So, for instance, garlic is abundant in zinc. Uh, Unrefined grains, any grain that is not refined, is also abundant in zinc. Okay, so doing all of those, a lot of water. So the bottom line is you need to ensure that your immune system is strengthened, and then strengthening your immune system goes beyond water. I mean, goes beyond uh, supplements. Okay, so it includes things like water. You have to be taking a lot of water. You have to be resting very well. Okay, because even your emotions, you have to manage your emotions. Okay, because even your emotional health can affect the strength of your immune system, and this is very, very important for women. It will interest you to know that sometimes a woman can actually be having a concern with infertility. And the only reason why she's having that concern is because maybe she's depressed. Maybe she's not happy with her husband. The body will just shut down and she'll not be able to conceive. So that shows practically how emotions can affect the body, can affect physiological aspect of the body. So you have to take care of your emotion, manage stress, manage your emotional health. So all of those things, they work in tandem. So it's not a one approach thing, for boosting your immune system. But I hope you'll be able to get tips and pieces of information to boost your immune system. Okay, I'm checking the time. The time will soon be up. But that's about it about boosting your immune system. Okay, uh, just get a lot of those things in your body. Okay, and then incorporate immune boosting lifestyle. Okay, and then there are some supplements that could also help to boost your immune system. Okay, so you have to also be aware of that. I've spoken about zinc, right? Okay, so I've spoken about vitamin C. Okay, so all of those are actually very important for boosting your immune system. So just incorporate them into into there's another supplement I want to mention. Okay, yeah, glutathione too is also good for boosting your immune system. So you can get glutathione. Okay, then beta glucan. Yeah, beta glucan is a very strong immune boosting agent. But like I said, it's a combination of so many things. Okay, so when we're back, we'll tidy this up, and then if there are questions, we'll take questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Coach. Please let's dial back in once we go off. Thank you.